All right. First things first. Yes, I know Taylor from Coaster Studios was at Kings Island yesterday. No, I did not see him. I know there's probably going to be a million people asking that question. Yes, I know Taylor from Coaster Studios was at Kings Island yesterday. No, I did not see him. The only coaster like Instagrammer slash YouTuber, etc., that I actually saw and met briefly in Orion's Line is one of the guys from Coast to Coaster. Off the Rails network on Instagram. And they have a really good coaster podcast called Coast to Coaster. So I met him briefly. That's it. So yeah, but yeah, I but before I get really a little bit more in depth with my experience on Orion, I actually have something different today, finally, to show you guys. Hello, everybody. Hello. Um, so I've got my one of my favorite mugs, probably this simple Magnum XL200 mug. Can't see the colors well on the camera. It's red though. It's just a standard like bright red color. Um, and I have something different. I just ordered. I see this company advertising on Facebook all the time. Hello, Jacob. This company, and I've seen some good reviews for their coffee. It's called Bones Coffee, and I finally ordered some. I ordered a sample pack of 5 of these 4-ounce packs of coffee. And the flavor I have right now that I'm drinking is peanut butter and jelly. So I have peanut butter and jelly coffee. All the coffees I ordered, all the samples from that company, they're not just regular coffee, they're like flavored ones. I ordered a bunch of different kinds of flavors. And this is the first and only one I've tried so far. I'm drinking it with a little bit of half and half and just a little bit of sugar because to me, flavored coffees taste really weird. I think flavored coffees are best with just a little bit of creamer and sugar. It's really not awful. I know it might sound awful. It does taste awful if you drink it black. Normally, I drink my coffee black, but that's just regular coffee. Yeah, peanut butter jelly time. All right. Um, but I mean, just a little half and half and a little bit of sugar. It tastes really good. So I really do enjoy it. But yeah, I do feel like flavored coffees, you have to kind of add something to them. I feel like flavored coffees just taste weird on their own. So, regular coffee, I drink black all the time. So, peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat. Tried black coffee, can't do it. Yeah, it's kind of an acquired taste. Yeah, it's an acquired taste for most people, I think. It does taste kind of bitter at first. If you find the right coffee though, and the right like roasting process, black coffee can taste really good and not very bitter at all. So, um, how long do I think the wait will be when you go at the very beginning of August? I mean, I have no idea. It all depends. And obviously, they're going to be following these procedures as long as they can stay open that long, as long as everything doesn't start closing back down. Fingers crossed. Um, as long as you can get there. The earlier the better. Try to reserve for the very first slot of the day. Otherwise, the line's probably going to be pretty backed up. So, um, I'm going to be doing a full review soon, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in depth about possibly trying to avoid some of those opening year lines. So, and I will get into the ride experience shortly, but you guys have some questions about it, so I'm kind of addressing some of these. But I will get to how I felt about the ride experience and everything just a little bit. I'm not going to go super in depth. I'm not going to go super in depth about it here because I am going to be doing. I'm actually working on a full review right now. As I'm speaking, I'm uploading footage of Orion, a little bit of just a couple minutes of footage to my YouTube, and probably tomorrow, maybe the day after, I'll have my full review of Orion up. So I am doing full review. So I'm not going to go super in depth about it here. I got to keep some things a mystery, for the final review. Hey, Joy, it's good to see you here. Just jumping on, don't know if I missed it, but was there any ejector on Candemonium? I did not ride Candemonium, uh, so I'm not sure. From what I heard, it's mostly floater. Um, I rode Orion yesterday, and I'll get into that a little bit more in a minute here. So I have not talked about the ride experience yet. Somebody says, "Is your footage copyright free?" My footage, any footage of my own that I upload to my channel, um, you can use if you like. I make it all Creative Commons. I put the Creative Commons license on my videos instead of the standard YouTube license. And that's actually something a lot of people don't realize is you can actually search, you can use a filter in the YouTube search for Creative Commons videos. And whenever Creative Commons videos have the Creative Commons license, you're free to use that footage as long as you attribute it to the original uploader. And a lot of going the other way around, a lot of people uploading videos don't realize they have the option to do that. So like I see all these coaster channels putting up footage that says non-copyright, no copyright, free to use in the title of the video. And that's fine. It makes it nice and transparent. It's fine that they do that, but a lot of times their videos are uploaded with the standard YouTube license rather than the Creative Commons. So but you can use the Creative Commons filter in your search as a way, to find Creative Commons videos that you can use and attribute the author. So I upload all of my videos with Creative Commons for the most part. As long as there's not like some footage in that video that I had to get express permission from the user, I'll upload my videos as Creative Commons. So but I don't have a lot of my own video footage on my channel because I use a lot of footage from other channels. And a good portion of it is like copyright free or Creative Commons footage, but you do have to be really careful about that. Just because I upload a video to my channel doesn't mean you can rip the video from my channel, upload it on your channel, and say, oh, it's Creative Commons because even if the video of mine it has the Creative Commons license on it, um, there's a chance that I still have footage in there that I had to ask for permission to use. So, but anyway, that's kind of getting like off the beaten path. I think you guys want to hear about Orion more than I just kind of the topic kind of turned into that. So, um, riding a coaster was great. Okay, you guys are asking a lot of questions about Orion. I'm getting to that. I was answering a question about the copyright footage of mine if you guys are able to use it. Short answer, yes. Just give me credit. Give me credit for my footage. If you use my footage, I would love to see your video just because I just love watching stuff. So, yeah. All right. So as we're speaking right now, this video is finished processing my footage, the footage I have here of Orion. Um, so let's get this uploaded here. I think everything's good to go. Um, all right. And that is published. So whenever we're done here, if you want to check out the footage, it's I don't do a lot of video stuff. I haven't gotten much into video yet. I'm not the best at obtaining footage when I go to parks, but I do try. I'm It's easier to get pictures, so I do get a lot of pictures. So yeah. So yeah, I uploaded like a couple minutes of footage. It's mostly Orion, but there is a little bit of footage thrown in there of like Diamondback and Mystic Timbers as well. So yeah, enjoy. Use it. If you want to use it for anything, just give me credit for it. Let me know, and I would love to watch the video. So, all right, with that out of the way, let's talk about Orion finally. So, Orion, I got one ride on it. I got one ride. I got into the park. I had a reservation for 12:30. So I walk up to the park about 12:25. I get in the park. Um, it didn't take too long. It was a little bit of a process. They're making a lot of people take their temperature over because you get really hot walking up there, and then your temperature's over whatever it is that it should be at. So they make you stand to the side if that's the case. And that happened to me. And it took like 3 or 4 times for it to finally go down. I'm like, I checked my temperature twice before I left home. I know it's fine. And so finally, after a couple minutes or so of standing there, it finally went down enough. They let me in. I got a locker back by Orion. But when I got back, I went right back to Orion. When I got back there, I was greeted with an absolutely unreal line. The lines, keep in mind they're social distancing, and the social distancing is pretty good. People are staying apart, so the line goes back even further. But of course, they're also barely filling the trains up. I mean, they're not filling the trains all the way, so half the seats are automatically blocked off on the trains. So that cuts capacity in half automatically, even though they're running 3 trains. And they got to clean every once in a while. Um, so yeah, so anyway, the line when I got back there, apparently the line at one point in the day went all the way back past Mystic Timbers and Diamondback. So I could not imagine waiting. I waited 4 hours, guys. I waited 4 hours. And when I got in line, it it went under the racer in the entrance of Area 72, went past the antique autos, um, wrapped around over by Windseeker, and I got in line a little bit past where Vortex's entrance used to be. So it was pretty far back, but it wasn't all the way back to Diamondback, thank God. Um, and like I said, I ended up waiting 4 hours. So was it worth it? Well, yeah, I mean, I would never wait 4 hours for it again. Maybe I'll wait 4 hours for a ride again if it's a new ride, but I wouldn't re-ride something. I wouldn't even ride Steel Vengeance or anything if it was a 4-hour wait. But they're not selling Fast Pass this year, by the way. If you have the all season Fast Pass that you purchased, you can use that, but that's it. So, um, yeah, um, yeah. So I waited 4 hours. The theming is good. The theming is really good for a Cedar Fair park. I'll just say that. There's a lot of nice homages to old rides and current rides as well in the theming from various Cedar Fair parks. King's Dominion, Cedar Point, Kings Island itself. There's all kinds of stuff. Lots of theming for Cedar Fair, and really good Cedar Fair theming. Not as good as the Copperhead Strike theming, but very good nonetheless. Nothing too immersive. Don't expect anything crazy. There is a pre-show. There is a little bit of a pre-show, which is exciting. Um, yeah. So, okay. Um, yeah. So you have the pre-show. Then you finally walk up the stairs. Now they were assigning rows, obviously, and I'm sure they will for a long time. As long as it has huge lines, they're going to be assigning rows. And I got assigned front row. So I was pretty happy about that. I was by myself. I got assigned front row. Typically, I prefer the Gigas in the front row. All the other 3 Gigas, and this is the case for Orion as well. Spoiler alert. Orion, I only got a front row ride. It was my only ride on it. But all the other Gigas I've preferred. Typically, I'm a backseat guy, but the other Gigas I've preferred the front over the back just a little bit. So I got a front row seat on Orion. I was pretty happy about that. The drop is absolutely amazing. Um, all I've heard is enthusiasts complaining for almost a year about how small Orion is. It's like when you're dropping 300 feet at 85 degrees, you're not going to notice a 20-foot difference. That's nothing. This drop feels pretty much exactly like Fury 325's drop. It's that good. I mean, the drop is amazing. And keep in mind, I rode in the front seat. It's the only ride I got on it. Front seat ride, amazing drop. Um, really good sustained floater air bordering on ejector maybe, but I would say more floater air. Really good. The wave turn like element, very good. Um, the big turnaround, got amazing floater on that Camelback hill. The Helix after that, it was kind of a take it or leave it thing, but I didn't mind it. I didn't think it made the ride worse. The pacing was fine through it. It was fairly intense. It had a decent amount of force. Um, that little like mini treble clef like twist, that was nice. Some decent laterals and air. Um, and then into the brakes. So that's the layout. And I will just say, one of the reasons I wanted to do this live stream is because when I do my official review for Orion, I don't really want to go into a whole rant about this in my official review because it would just like kind of turn it into a whole nother video. And maybe I'll even make a separate video about this at some point. Um, but here's the thing, riding Orion yesterday really, really demonstrated something really well to me. And I'm not 100% innocent of this. You know, a lot of enthusiasts have been talking crap for over a year now, ever since we found out what Orion was going to be. A lot of enthusiasts had these predetermined expectations that had no ground, like they weren't grounded in any reality whatsoever. People just made up these expectations and they were disappointed because Kings Island didn't meet their expectations that they made up themselves. Um, Riding Orion really showed me that we can't judge really strictly based on just watching the POVs and looking at the layout. And, you know, sometimes I think we need to have a little bit more faith. And B&M, we give B&M a lot of flack too, not just Kings Island and Orion, but a lot of enthusiasts, including myself to some degree. I'm not innocent. You know, I'm guilty of this too. We give B&M flack for being a little bit too predictable lately. And, you know, this and that. They should have done this with the layout. They should have done this. They should have banked it this way instead of banking it that way. You know, I think sometimes we need to have a little more faith and realize that the people who work at B&M are the engineers. They have the degrees in engineering. They know how this stuff works. They know exactly what they're doing. They're very good engineers. And sometimes we need to trust that they know what they're doing because the guys at B&M know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're making. Um, and I think sometimes basically we just need to have more faith in them. We need to give them more of a chance because for almost a year, basically a year now, ever since the blueprints were leaked and we had the, um, you know, the pretty precise layout, it's just been enthusiasts complaining the whole time. Entitled enthusiasts, and I've complained a little bit too. I mean, I've always been really excited for Orion, and I got more excited for it as time went on. Um, but I always was saying, you know, oh, I wish they would have at least just done this with the layout. I wish they would have added just like two more small elements. You know, they could have done this a little better. So even I was like critiquing it. But when I got on that ride and I experienced it for myself, it exceeded my expectations by quite a bit. Now, I'm not definitely go out and ride it, make your own opinion. Maybe you won't like it as much as me and I did only get the one ride on it. But don't go in expecting like an elite ride, like a hyper elite ride or anything like super like top 5 out of every single coaster in the world. It's nothing like on that level in my opinion, but I think a lot of you guys will be pleased with Orion. I think a lot of people are pleased with Orion. In fact, I know a lot of people are very pleased with the ride experience. And I think a lot of people will really enjoy it and appreciate it for what it is. I'm not saying it's a perfect ride. I mean, I still do there's part of me that kind of believes maybe they could have done some things better, but ultimately it's kind of nitpicky because the ride that we got, um, Orion is such a great ride, guys. I mean, I loved it. I had a great time on Orion. I'm not This is just me speaking from the heart. I really had a great time on it. I'm like I said, I'm not gonna go too in depth with the different elements and what the elements offered and what they felt like. I'll go into that in my review. I have a review. I'll have the full review on it coming out in the next couple days, hopefully tomorrow. But I really had a great time on Orion, and I think as a community, us coaster enthusiasts really need to step back sometimes and just trust that parks that are sinking $30 million into a project, they're making sure that money is well spent. In most, or even in all cases, probably, they're making sure that money is well spent. Um, so we need to have faith sometimes, that the engineers at B&M know way more than we do as enthusiasts. They know exactly what they're doing. And Cedar Fair spending 30 million plus dollars on a ride, they're not sinking that money into something that they just think is not going to be worth it in some way in the long run. And I think I mean from what I saw yesterday, Orion is definitely a crowd pleaser. I mean, it's a perfect ride for Kings Island, perfect fit for the park. I think enthusiasts really need to get off their high horse, to be honest. It's perfect. It's not a perfect ride. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect ride, but it's a great fit for Kings Island. I think a lot of people are going to be traveling, flying from, you know, several hundred thousand miles away. And when they get there, they're gonna love what they get in Orion. And I really believe that. It's a really good ride. Don't judge something really harshly before you actually get a chance to ride it. And I mean, I've always tried to follow that philosophy, but riding Orion yesterday really taught me or it really, I shouldn't say it taught me, but it really cemented in my head how true that is. So, that's kind of my take on the whole, you know, controversy surrounding Orion. I've heard nothing, well, not nothing but complaints. I've heard tons and tons of complaints all across the all across the board from all kinds of enthusiasts, including myself. I mean, I complained a little bit about it myself, um, saying they could have done this and that better, but I was really, really surprised, by Orion, and I had an awesome time. So Tim K says my only complaint is the land clearing. Can't wait for some forestry to come back. Diamondback too. Um, Here's the thing about that. I was actually thinking about that a little bit today, and I was disappointed that they took out all of the trees in Orion's construction site and didn't leave anything. But to be honest, with the theme of Orion, I sort of feel like maybe a more bare site kind of lends itself to that theme a little bit better. Um, but I think over time, trees will grow in and stuff, and there will be more scenery surrounding the ride. So that's just something that's going to take time. In like 10 years, there's probably going to be, trees sprouting up pretty good around that area. So how's Orion compared to Fury? Okay. So I've been on I've been on all gigas all gigas in the United States. Not all the gigas in North America because I have not been on Leviathan, but I've been on all 4 gigas in the United States. And I think that I think I actually preferred Orion to Millennium Force just by a little bit. And I didn't know if I would, but I think I do prefer it a little bit over Millennium Force. Um, yeah, classic coffee mug leg for sure. Yeah, there it goes, legging. Yeah, so of the 4 gigas I've been on, I think I would rank them 1 Fury 325, 2 Intimidator 305, 3 Orion, and 4 Millennium Force. So I think it's a very strong ride. I mean, even Millennium Force, I still love. I still love Millennium Force. It's just outside of my top 10, number 11 or 12 or something like that. Um, Yeah. And I'll say this, a little bit of a spoiler here. A little bit of a spoiler. And I kind of hate saying this because I have only ridden it once, but I feel like I got a good feel for the ride. Getting a front seat ride and actually soaking in the experience of it, I feel like I got a good feel for it. So I will say that I'm confident that I do love this ride. Even though I did only get one ride on it. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind. Um, but um, I think, spoiler alert, once again, I think that Orion is possibly my new favorite ride at Kings Island. I've been a Diamondback fanboy ever since I rode that thing. I'll still be a Diamondback fanboy, but to be honest, I think Orion might have it beat. I think I'll put Orion one spot ahead in my overall rankings, to be honest. I rode Diamondback yesterday as well, and I still love that ride. And the airtime was even better than I remember it being on Diamondback. I mean, Diamondback always had great airtime, and I loved it. And it had even better airtime than I remembered. But I think maybe I prefer Orion. Um, I say that kind of in a reserved way because I did only get the one ride on it, but I loved Orion. I had a great time on it. I think it's genuinely a perfect fit for Kings Island. I think they gave us something really special. So, do I think Candemonium may top Orion for new B&M coasters? Um, I was always thinking for a while now that Candemonium would probably be better, but based on some of sort of mixed reception I've heard about Candemonium compared to my experience on Orion, I feel like Orion might actually be the better ride. So, yeah, I I-305 is not meant for airtime. I don't know if I said something that made you think that I thought that, but yeah, I-305 is not about the airtime at all. It has a few really good airtime moments in my opinion, but it is not focused on air. It's focused on those positive G's all the way. So, and the speed. The mask wearing, okay, people are asking about the masks. Everybody, for the most part, everybody was wearing a mask and they were enforcing it very well. They were enforcing it. Everybody, for the most part, was wearing them when they should have been. And people were going around reminding people politely if they saw them pulling it down or whatever. Um, most people were social distancing as well. They were cleaning things. There was hand sanitizer in a lot of places in the park. So I was pretty pleased with how they handled everything. So, what else did I ride yesterday? Um, I rode 4 rides, 1 ride on each thing. Um, Orion was the very first thing. I waited 4 hours. By the time I got off that, it was after 5 o'clock, and the park closed at 7. So, I I s I snatched a ride on Diamondback, like 5th row Diamondback, a ride on Mystic Timbers. Before Mystic Timbers, I got the Flying Ace aerial chase credit finally. All the other times I've been to Kings Island, the line has been so long for that, I didn't even bother getting that credit. But there was literally nobody in line yesterday for it. So I got on Flying Ace aerial chase. Honestly, I kind of wish I would have cut out Mystic Timbers because I really did want to get a second ride on Orion. But by the time I was debating on whether or not to get in line, because the line looked a little long for Mystic, but not too long. So I took a gamble. I rode Mystic Timbers and I got off, and it was already 7 o'clock and the park was closed. So I wasn't able to get a second ride on Orion. To be honest, I kind of wish I would have skipped Mystic Timbers and just got on Orion again. But I mean, hindsight's 2020. What are you gonna do? I'm sure I'm gonna be back at some point to ride Orion again. If not this year, definitely next year, I'm sure. So OK Coasters gave Candemonium pretty high praise reviews, says it's slightly better in Mako. Nice, nice. I mean, I've kind of anticipated that. I think personally, I think Candemonium will be a great ride. I've heard other people saying though, like, oh yeah, it's pretty good, pretty much what you expect from B&M Hyper. But other people are saying, wow, that was phenomenal, really good airtime. So that's kind of the range of reviews I've heard with Candemonium. Front row. I was assigned to front row. Yes. Do I consider Orion a top tier Giga? Not exactly. Like I said, I think it's third out of the 4 Gigas that I've ridden, but it's still an amazing ride. Every single Giga is an amazing ride. So, yeah, see, I see a comment about the trim on the airtime hill in I-305. I still got really good floater slash flowjector air, even with that trim break there. So it didn't really bother me. And you're still going so fast, even with that trim. Cyberfox, good to see you. Worth the wait for Orion. I think for my first ride, it was. I really hated waiting that long. I was so freaking thirsty, so tired. It was hot. There's barely any shade in the queue. It was exhausting. I would say it was worth it to get that one ride because I loved it. I would not wait that long again. The most I'd wait again is like two. Excuse me, 2 hours. Um, I'm not waiting 4 hours for it again, I'll tell you that. So, I wouldn't wait 4 hours for anything, especially things that I've been on before. So, if I would have realized it was gonna be a 4-hour wait, I would have eaten before I got in line and rode some other things first. But hindsight's 2020. So, how nice was it just to ride a coaster again? It was great. It really was. It was nice. What did I think of Flying Ace Aerial Chase? People have those coasters. People hate those coasters so much. For me, they're just fine. I've been on the clone, the Kitty Hawk, the Kitty Hawk at Carowinds. You guys know why I'm laughing. Yeah, but I've been on the Kitty Hawk at Carowinds and Flying Ace Aerial Chase. The one at Carowinds used to be called Flying Ace Aerial Chase as well. But they're those Vekoma hang and bangs. If you guys aren't sure what I'm talking about, they're the Vekoma hang and bangs, the family inverted coasters. To me, I mean, those rides are so rough. I think they're so rough. The one at Carowinds, I got tons of head banging. So for me, I think the hang and bang nickname is very well justified and earned by Vekoma. It amazes me how old school Vekoma even managed to mess up the tame family coasters. Like, how does that happen? It was so rough. The track was rough. I didn't really get any headbanging on the Kings Island one, but the track was really rough. The Carowinds one, I got a bunch of headbanging on, so not a fan. Should have skipped Flying Ace and rode Banshee instead. I wish I could have gotten on Banshee and Beast and Bat. There's so much stuff I didn't get to do, but I've been on all that stuff before. Most of them several times, so it's like I was mainly going for Orion, and I knew the park was only open till 7, so you got to kind of pick and choose, especially when you're spending 4 hours waiting for Orion. I just didn't have time to barely do anything, so I rode my 3 favorite coasters at the park, so that was good. I haven't been on Leviathan, so I can't say. Um, I think Orion's pacing looks much better than Leviathan's. Leviathan looks like it kind of dies after like a certain point in the ride. So, but I haven't been on it. Orion or Steel Vengeance? Steel Vengeance all the way. Yeah. Steel Vengeance still my number one. Um, Orion is nowhere close to the number one. It's pretty far, but it's still a great coaster. So Somebody keeps asking about sitting on the beast. A lot of people would say like the second to last row, like the non-wheel seat. I think the wheel seats are just fine. But I guess I would say the back for beast. If you don't want the very back because of the wheels, do the second to last row. So, especially for a night ride. The next coaster I'm dying to get on. I mean, there's so many of them because there's so many that I haven't ridden yet. So many that I was supposed to ride earlier, well, a month ago, almost a month ago back in June, that I didn't get to because of everything going on. So the next coaster I'm going to be riding though is at Cedar Point. I'm hoping to get to Cedar Point on the 10th. I reserved a spot. Hopefully I can get there that day. So Orion is a giga. Get out of here with that junk. How loud was Orion? Thanks for bringing that up, Cyberfox. It was disappointing. Orion does not have that classic B&M roar. In fact, I could barely like there were times when I was facing like the direction like of the brake run, like facing I'm trying to think how to explain it. Like when I was turned away, like turned in the same direction that the train was headed, like when I was beside the brake run. And I would like look up sometimes and see the train up there, and I wouldn't even hear the train until it hit the brakes. Like even though I was right there, like it's it's so quiet for a B&M. It really is. It does not have that classic B&M roar, and I know they're filling the track with sand now because of the freaking neighbors complaining and everything. Um, yeah, it does not have the classic B&M roar. The first drop kind of does, but it's very subdued. Too scared to ride hypers. I think you're talking about me. Prowler is not my number one bucket list coaster. El Toro actually is. Prowler, I didn't even have in my bucket list video. So Stanford Bridge says he preferred back row on the Beast, but he says he's not a Beast expert. That's kind of the situation I am. I preferred back row as well, but I'm also not a Beast expert. So I love the Beast. I do love the Beast though. Orion is not trash. I don't know if you've ridden it or not. It's a pretty darn good ride, I think. I mean, if you've ridden it, fair enough, I guess. That's your opinion. But I really hope you've ridden it if you're calling it trash. I really hope you were there yesterday or at the charity event riding it to come to that conclusion. So yeah, B&M roars don't mean the ride's intense. They just sound cool. It just sounds awesome. So planning to go to Cedar Point the 11th. Nice. Maybe I should just reschedule my Cedar Point visit to the 11th because honestly, I'm not going to have any time there on the 10th. I should probably reschedule my date because I'm probably not going to get there until really late on the 10th if I'm able to go. I should probably cancel it and like reserve the 11th myself if there's any still available. Yep, if you call Orion a hyper, then by your own terms, you can't say Apollo's Chariot's a hyper. Exactly, exactly. Orion is 91 miles per hour. It's actually one of the fastest coasters in the world, so I wouldn't say it's slow. Let's see. If I live 15 hours away Is it worth a trip to Kings Island this year with COVID? I want to be able to marathon Mystic and Beast and Diamondback. If it's 15 hours, I think I would just wait. I don't think I would go this year. They're only open 11 to 7 every single day besides tomorrow. Tomorrow, the 4th of July, they're open 11 to 10. Every other day this year, 11 to 7. I would not drive 15 hours. CP on the 12th? Nice. Okay. I don't think I can go on the 12th. The 11th, I should be able to. Yeah, Cedar Point's closing at 8 every day this year. So is Orion better than Magnum? Yes, I think so. Not by a whole lot, but it is better, I think. Orion's pacing is slow compared to the other Gigas. I mean, personally, I don't think so, really. I mean, I thought the pacing was really good on Orion, actually. To me, the pacing was better than Fury 325. I like Fury 325 better, but I think Orion has better pacing. The pacing on I-305 is just nuts, and the pacing on Millennium Force is really good as well. I think Orion's pacing was great myself. So yeah, if any of you guys see me at the parks, feel free to say hi. Just keep a distance, social distance, respect that and everything. Come up to me and say hi. I would love to meet you. So I'm not going to be doing like meetups this year because of everything going on. It's just not a good time to do that. But if you see me at the park, absolutely come up and say hi. Is it more intense than Diamondback? Yes, Orion is more intense as far as positive G's go. So happy birthday, Florian. Happy birthday to you. How's it compare to Fury 325? Fury's the best Giga that I've ridden, in my opinion. Orion, a little better than Millennium Force, in my opinion. That's how I gauge it. I talked about that more in depth earlier. You can go back and watch this later if you want more in depth thoughts. I don't want to keep repeating it, but I loved it though. So haven't been on Leviathan, can't really compare it all that well. So the theming of Area 72, it was good. Very good for Cedar Fair. Yeah. You're welcome, Florian. Have a good day. What other parks do I plan on visiting this year? Any new ones? Cedar Point, obviously. Maybe Kings Island again. I don't know. Maybe. Possibly Holiday World for Hollywood Nights, which I've been there before, but it was 2015 and I didn't get to ride the Legend. So maybe Holiday World, possibly like Indiana Beach and or Kentucky Kingdom. But beyond that, like even those, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do all that. So I've got a lot of stuff going on right now. And with the whole situation, I'm not that comfortable, especially at a park like Indiana Beach. Yes, the soundtrack was by I'm Score. The soundtrack is very good for Orion. They did a great job. But yeah, I don't know if I'm that comfortable going to places like Indiana Beach. I really wanted to go this year to support them, but nobody's been wearing a mask there, it seems. Yeah, it's crazy. So I would love to visit Park Asterix. I don't think I will anytime soon, but I would love to for sure. What coaster started this hobby for me? Blue Streak at Cedar Point. Yep. Millennium Force, man. I love how little restrictions Indiana Beach has. I mean, suit yourself as long as you know what you're getting into and the dangers that you could put yourself in. I mean, that's fine if you want to go, but um, I don't feel very comfortable, especially since I'm at high risk. I got to be really careful. I wasn't even too sure about going to Kings Island and even Cedar Point, honestly. I need to be extra careful. So just keep people like us in mind, just out of respect for everybody when you're talking about, I'm not saying you're being disrespectful about it, but just keep that in mind. And the fact that I've seen how Indiana Beach is handling everything, it's pretty disappointing. I'm still really happy for the park. I'm happy for the new owner. I'm so grateful that they can open back up, and I'm glad that people are wanting to support them. But I just don't really feel comfortable going there right now. So, all right, problem taken care of, guys. Yeah, I waited 4 hours, Tony. I was just talking about that when I first started the stream. I waited 4 hours for it. And apparently the line at one point even went all the way back to Diamondback. When I got in line, it was just around the area where Vortex's entrance used to be. So, yeah. What seat was I in on the front row? In the front row, they had the outer seats blocked. So, in the front row on Orion, they had the two inner seats open, and I sat on the right inner seat. So, the right inner seat in the front row. Um, yeah, I'm gonna take care of this ignorance right now. Yeah. Let's see. Candemonium had no line and is the best B&M hyper. That's awesome to hear. I think Candemonium looks amazing for sure. Do I think Candemonium's the best hyper? I think it's probably there's a good chance it's the best B&M hyper in America, possibly. So, yeah, exactly. Um to me, Orion has amazing pacing and the length of the ride, it's like 50 seconds, 52 seconds from drop to break. And I didn't even think it felt too short, to be honest. Um Certainly, yeah, sure. I guess it would have been nice to have like a couple bunny hops or something at the end just to add a little bit more variety to the ride, but I thought the length was fine. I didn't feel like it was too short, to be honest. I thought it was fine. It didn't feel like a long ride, but it didn't feel short either. It was just kind of like that perfect threshold, you know? Like I thought it was fine. GP2 enthusiast said that Orion is like the new wave of B&M. I think that's a good way to look at it. Yeah. I mean, I think that could be the case. I think B&M's going to start doing some more new things here soon, you know. Obviously, they have the dive coaster coming at some point, or not the dive coaster, the surf coaster. So, may I ask why you're high risk? Yeah, I'm diabetic, so I'm at high risk because I'm diabetic. So I think I've mentioned that before here and there, but I don't really like it's not like I ever not like there's any reason to advertise it exactly. But favorite dive coaster, I've only been on Valraven. I did not enjoy it. I'm not a big fan of Valraven. It's actually one of my least favorite coasters at Cedar Point. So I think it's my least favorite major, like huge thrill coaster at Cedar Point. Valraven is. So yeah, Adventureland is getting a new 40 free spin. I think it's a good fit for the park as well. So Valkyria looks really good. I think Valkyria looks like a fun ride for sure. That's interesting. Is it because of the vests? I mean, I'm typically a fan of the vest restraints. I like them usually. I do feel like it maybe inhibited some of the airtime on Valraven, but it wasn't just that. I just think the ride is forceless. I think the ride's forceless, kind of doesn't really do anything. The first drop is all right. My favorite part is actually the drop off the mid course because it's so abrupt and you actually get a really good pop of ejector air off of that. Um, I guess the zero G roll is all right. You get hang time on that. A lot of people love that. I think it's all right. So, see, if I were high risk and wanted to feel comfortable in public, I just wear an N95 mask. I maybe I should look into getting one of those. I have some pretty nice masks that, like, I feel like close everything in pretty good, but I mean, wearing a mask is, I do realize though it's more about not spreading it. So I'm not gonna get too much into that. I appreciate the respectful, like, comments and suggestions and things, but to be honest, I kind of want to get away from that some. This topic is just like all it does is start arguments basically. So yeah. Is Valraven better than Gemini in your opinion? No, no way. No way. Not in any world. Gemini is a great ride, an awesome supporting coaster for Cedar Point. It's like my 10th favorite in the park. I love Gemini. So Valraven, I think, would be better at a different Cedar Fair park. But the thing is, Valraven is a huge success for Cedar Point because it brings in the GP. They love that ride. It was a good investment for Cedar Point, but I don't think it's a very good ride, in my opinion. I know a lot of people love it, and that's fine. I wish I loved it more, but yeah, I've heard they improved the vest with Yukon Striker. I heard they actually worked on them, made them more loose. So my favorite wing coaster, Thunderbird, and I have been on it. So how much longer will Gemini last though? I don't know. I don't think it will last too much longer, which kind of sucks. But I think if they take Gemini out, they're going to replace it with something really good. So in my opinion, Valraven is not top 10 at Cedar Point. There's a lot of people that would not agree with that. But I am not a fan of Valraven. So yeah, I think a massive GCI would be perfect. If they remove Gemini, a massive GCI would fit perfect right there for sure. Let's see. Look at Twister will be the next to go, you think? That very well could be. I have 98 credits now. I see somebody asking about the number of credits. I prefer GCI or Gravity Group. I haven't been on a lot of rides by either. I guess overall, maybe GCI, but the really good Gravity Groups, I think, are better than pretty much every GCI. So, like Voyage and Ravine Flyer 2 and Hades looks awesome, and even Boardwalk Bullet. I think those rides and some of them even are better than every GCI, like Voyage. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Yeah, Gemini has, Gemini isn't focused on the airtime. It has some decent flow ejector. Yeah. Which side of Gatekeeper do I like more? I prefer the left side. Wait, right. Left. I prefer the left side. Yeah. On the outer seat. Yeah, yeah. Gemini has always reminded me of Atari as well. Exactly. That's a good way to put it. What will my 100th be? I don't know. I don't know. Favorite Gerstlauer, I've only been on like Fire Chaser Express and Mystery Mine, so Mystery Mine. Favorite Aero Coaster I rode, Magnum, no doubt, followed by Tennessee Tornado. Hey, Rampaging Rex, what's up? I'm glad you got to Hershey Park. I went to Kings Island yesterday. Had a had a pretty good time. Waited 4 hours for Orion, but I had a great ride on it. So I'm at 65, starting to get back into it. Haven't been on a coaster trip in almost 15 years. Oh wow, nice. Well, it's good that you're trying to get out there and ride some more. That's awesome. So yeah, I was at before I went to King's Dominion and Carowinds and to King's Island and got some more new credits there last year. I was at like 55 credits, and currently right now, um, I'm at 98 because I wrote a couple new ones at King's Island yesterday. So because Flying Ace Aerial Chase, I got that credit finally, and then I wrote Orion. So what do you think about Candemonium? Rampaging Rex, do you want to? I'm sure you'll do a video about it. Oh, okay, here we go. Candemonium had some of the most insane floater airtime I've ever seen on a B&M. It's now my favorite coaster in the park. All right, nice. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. My least favorite major coaster at Kings Island. Um, Racer, I guess. I guess Racer. Riding an SBF Visa and Eastern Idaho. Nice. I have not been on an SLC yet, actually. So, yeah, well, it's good to hear that Candemonium seems to be delivering. Like I said, I have heard some mixed things about it, but for the most part, it's positive. It's more on the positive side. I haven't heard anything bad about it. I mean, it's a B&M Hyper, which you really can never go wrong with those. And I've heard a couple people like, "Oh, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It's a B&M Hyper. It was a fun ride." But then I hear a lot of, "Oh, it's really good floater airtime. One of, if not the best B&M Hyper." So I've heard like a range of things. How was Orion? You just got here. I'll let you go back and watch this later if you want because I went more in depth. I'm not gonna repeat everything again, but it was really good. I really enjoyed my ride on Orion. It did not deserve all of the hate it's been getting for a year. It's a phenomenal ride. So I think Orion is great. Yeah. What's up, Idaho coaster enthusiast? How you doing? Yeah, and I will say again, like theming around Orion and Area 72, they did a good job with it. It was really good for Cedar Fair. And the I'm Score soundtrack, great, really good. So two Idaho enthusiasts in the chat. Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome though. I love to see that. People from all around the world even. Oh, that was you. Okay, we just have one Idaho coaster enthusiast confirmed. Okay. What do I think about SeaWorld and all the lanes? I think it's a strategic move on their part, but I hope it doesn't negatively affect companies working with them in the future. So, thoughts on Surf Coaster? I think it'll be good, whatever it is. I made a couple videos talking about the surf coaster, but if it's that launch coaster concept, I think it's which pretty much it most likely is. I think it'll be really good. Yeah, yeah, the added theming on Flight of Fear looks really nice. The theming all around Area 72 and in Orion's Queue, they did a really good job with it, so, um, alright, guys, well, I've been going for an hour now, and I just kinda wanted to get on here and share some of my thoughts about my experiences. I'm gonna get going now. I have some things I wanna do today. I need to go out and do some stuff, as well as, work on this Orion review. I really wanna get this done soon, and I gotta work on, setting up for my Coaster Cafe live stream, which is tomorrow, as usual, Saturday at noon. So, I'm gonna get going now. Appreciate you guys for coming in here. It's been a blast. And thanks for listening to me ramble and rant. And thank you. I'm glad you appreciated my take on the ride. I really think there is something to be learned from this as far as like the whole the dynamic of the community and the way things are looked at. So I just kind of wanted to get that out of my system. I didn't want to rant about that in my full review. It's just not the place for it. So, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you tomorrow at noon on Coaster Cafe. You guys have a great day and stay safe out there. All right. Uh, Enjoy the rides.